In this video, I'm going to show you how you can make a Klein bottle in Blender. Now, if you don't want to learn how to make this model, you can download the model for free. I'll put a link in the description. Now, if you take a look at the bottom left hand corner of the screen here, you'll see I have screencast keys turned on, so you can see exactly the keys I'm pushing. If I hit Z on the keyboard, select wireframe. This is a model we're going to be making. Now, I do apologise for the poor sound quality. Unfortunately, my good microphone broke. I'll hope to replace that in the next couple of weeks. So, if you want to, follow along. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up our workspace. Now, we don't want the camera, we don't want the cube, and we don't want the light. So if you push A on your keyboard to select everything, push X, and we're going to delete everything. Okay. The next thing to do is to set our units. We want to change our units from meters to millimeters, just like that. And then if you push N on your keyboard to bring up this menu, you're going to go to View, and we're going to change this clip start to 1 mil, just like that. Okay. If you push N to get rid of that menu, and we're ready to start working on it. So first thing to do is to add in a UV sphere. So hit Shift A on your keyboard, go to Mesh, and you're going to add in a UV sphere. Next thing to do is to click on this little tab down here. What we're going to do is we're going to change the segments from 32 to 128 and the rings from 16 to 64. Just like that. Now we want to change the radius to 40 mil. Just close that down. And we're ready to start working. I'm just going to scroll in with the mouse wheel just so I can see what I'm doing. Left click the sphere. I'm going to hit Tab to go into edit mode. I'm just going to hold down the mouse wheel and just rotate around to the top. I'm going to zoom in with the mouse wheel, and I'm just going to left click the middle vertices. I'm going to hold down Control on the keyboard. I'm going to hit positive once, twice, 3 times. I'm going to hit X on the keyboard. I'm going to delete vertices. I'm going to do the same thing at the bottom. Select the vertices in the middle. Hold down Control once, twice, 3 times. And then I'm going to hit X on the keyboard, and I'm going to delete vertices, just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to hold down Alt and select this bottom ring, and then I'm going to hold down Alt Shift, and I'm going to select the top ring. If you select the wrong one, just hit Control Z to go back, Alt Shift again, and just select this top ring. There we go. I'm going to push 1 to go into front view, then zoom out with the mouse wheel. I'm going to come up here to the top, and I'm going to turn proportional editing on, and I'm going to set it to sharp, just like that. Okay. Now I want to hit G on the keyboard to grab, Z to lock it to the Z axis, and I'm just going to turn the proportional size down to about 0.6, like that. Okay. And I want to pull it up a bit, and I'm going to pull it up about 7 mil, just like that. If you type 7 on your numpad, hit enter, and that's perfect. Now before we go any further, make sure you turn off proportional editing. Hold down Alt, middle mouse wheel, click up near the top to zoom in on this part, and I'm going to scroll in so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. Now you want to hold down Alt, left mouse button, click to select this top ring. I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate. I'm going to hit Escape to leave it where it is, and then I'm going to hit P to part. I'm going to part selection. Okay. Now what you want to do is you want to change this sphere up here, and I'm going to call this body, and I'm going to call this sphere 01 tube, just so that I know which part's which. Okay. Then hit Tab on your keyboard, go into object mode. The next thing to do is we can go ahead and we can hide the body. Just click the little eye to hide it. Select this ring here. Hit Tab to go into edit mode. I'm just going to box select it, left mouse button. I'm going to hit Shift S, and I'm going to hit cursor to selected, just like that, just to move the cursor up. And then I'm going to hit E to extrude, Z to lock it to the Z axis. I'm going to type 2 to take it up 2 mil. Okay. And hit enter. Now I'm going to go Tab to go back into object mode. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add in a Bezier curve. So add Shift A on your keyboard, go to curve and add in Bezier. is scroll out, select the curve, left mouse click, hit tab to go into edit mode. I'm going to select the left handle, I'm going to hit X, I'm going to delete vertices. Now I'm going to select the right handle, I'm going to hit Shift S on the keyboard, and I'll move selection to cursor, keep offset, just like that. Okay, and then I'm just going to hit S, and I'm just going to scale this down. Zoom in a bit, push S again, and I'm just going to scale it down so it's about the same length as the width of as the ring. Okay, I'm going to push 1 on the keyboard to go into front view. I'm going to push R to rotate. I'm going to push Y to lock it to the Y axis, and I'm going to type 90 in, and then I'm going to push minus to rotate it in the opposite direction, and I'm going to hit enter. Okay, and I'm going to hit E to extrude, Z to lock it to the Z axis. I'm going to type 25 in to take it 25 mil, and I'm going to push enter, and then I'm going to hit E to extrude again, Z to lock it to the Z axis. I'm going to type 15 to take it 15 mil. Just going to zoom out so you can see what I'm doing, and then I'm going to hit E again. This time, oops, no, I'm not going to hit E. I'm going to hit escape, and then I'm going to hit Control Z to go back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab. I'm going to, with G, I'm going to X to lock it to the X axis. I'm going to type 15 to take it 15 mil, and I'm going to push minus to take it in the opposite direction. I'm going to hit enter to leave it where it is. I'm going to push R to rotate. I'm going to push Y to lock it to the Y axis. I'm going to type 90 to rotate it 90 degrees, and I'm going to push minus to take it in the opposite direction. I'm going to push enter, and then I'm going to extrude again, X to lock it to the X axis, 15 mil to take it 15 mil, minus to take it in the other direction, and enter to leave it where it is. Then I'm going to move it G to grab, Z to lock it to the Z axis, 15 to take it 15 mil, minus to take it in the opposite direction, enter, and then I'm going to rotate. I'm going to rotate it around the Y axis, so Y, 90 to rotate it 90 degrees, minus to take it in the other direction, enter to leave it where it is, and then I'm going to extrude one last time, Z to lock it to the Z axis, and 25 mil, minus to take it in the opposite direction, enter to leave it where it is. Now if I hit tab, you'll be able to see what we're creating. We're creating a path for this ring to follow. Okay. The next thing to do, if I bring back the body just for a second, select the body, I rotate round to the bottom, zoom in a little bit, I'm going to hit tab to go into edit mode, I'm going to select this bottom ring of vertices, I'm going to hit shift S, and I'm going to put cursor to selected. Okay, hit tab to go back into object mode, select our Bezier curve once again, tab to go into edit. I'm just going to hide the body so you can see what I'm doing. Go 1 to go into front view, and I'm going to extrude. Doesn't matter where we extrude to, just drop it anywhere. Then I'm going to hit shift S, and I'm going to go selection to cursor, keep offset. And then I'm going to grab G, Z to lock it to the Z axis. I'm going to take it up 40 mil, just like that. Enter. Then I'm going to E to extrude again, Z to lock it to the Z axis, doesn't matter where you drag it to. I'm going to hit Shift S on the keyboard, and I'm going to go selection to cursor, keep offset, just like that. Now if I hit tab, we'll be able to see the path that our ring is going to follow. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select this ring. I'm going to come over to the modifiers, this little spanner, add modifier, and we're going to add an array modifier. Now if we take a look at this, you'll see it's going along the x-axis. Turn the count up a few times, you'll see there it goes. We want ours to go along the z-axis, so I'm going to change this 1 here to a 0. I'm going to change the z-axis to a 1. You see it's going in the right direction. We turn the count up, still not following the curve yet, so add modifier. We're going to add in a curve modifier. I'm going to set the object to the Bezier, just like that. and we want to set the deformation axis to the Z axis, and there we go. Now all you need to do is turn your count up. Now what you want, bring the body back just for a second, go into front view, Alt, middle mouse wheel just to zoom in where we're working. What we want is we want this to terminate just above the bottom of the actual body. I'm going to turn the count back a bit, just like that, just so it's one section above. 92 is my count, and that's perfect. Next thing we can do is we can apply the modifiers. So you apply the array modifier first, apply, then apply the curve modifier, apply, and we're ready to start working on this next file. Okay, so hit Alt, middle mouse wheel, and I'm going to zoom in up near the top here. I'm going to select the body, and I'm just going to hide the body for a second. Now select the tube, rotate it round, hit tab, and you can see all these broken up vertices. So hit A on your keyboard, right click, and we're going to merge vertices by distance, and you'll see it removes a load of vertices. Okay. The next thing we're going to do, tab to go back into object mode, we're going to add modifier, and we're going to solidify. Okay. Now this is too thick, so we're going to change 10 mil, we're going to change to 1.5, and we don't want to fill the rim in, so we're going to turn fill rim off and hit apply. Do the same thing on the body, bring the body back, select the body, modifier, solidify, thickness 1.5, fill rim, turn that off, hit apply. Okay. Now we need to move this top part away from the body before we cut this in, otherwise it can cause problems. So Alt, middle mouse wheel, zoom in, select the tube, tab to go into edit mode. I'm going to hold down Alt and select this bottom ring. I'm going to G to grab, Z to lock it to the Z axis, and just pull it up out of the way a bit. Perfect. Okay. Tab to go back into object mode. Oops, before we do that, go back into edit mode. I'm just going to hide the body for a second. What you want to do is select the inner tube, just like that. Hold down Control on your keyboard, positive on your numpad. You can select all these vertices. Just go down to the bottom, make sure you've selected them all. And you're going to hit P on your keyboard to part, selection, and that's separated them up. I'm just going to come up here and I'm going to change this tube over 1, and I'm going to call this in tube. Just so I know that's the inside and that's the outside tube. You can go ahead and hide that for now. The reason why we're hiding the inside tube is we need to cut this one into the body, but the inside tube simply passes through the middle. If you try to do it with them both connected, then you're going to have some problems. Okay. The next thing we need to do, just going to hit tab to go into object mode, is we're going to come up here to edit. You're going to go to preferences. Here in the search box, you're going to type in bool. Just put a little tick in the box next to the bool tool object. Okay. Bring back the body. Oops, the body. You're going to select the tube. You're going to select the body holding down shift. Then you're going to hit Control, Shift, positive. And what that's going to do is that's going to chop the tube to the body. Now if I hold down Alt, click the middle mouse wheel next to the join here, and zoom in, you'll be able to see what we have. It's a nice tube passing all the way through. I'm going to hide the Bezier curve because we're not going to be using that anymore. Sometimes when you're chopping these together, you can get a problem where it'll leave a face and a join in here. If it does that, all you have to do is go around and delete the vertices out of the inside and the vertices from inside this gap. That's a problem with bool tools. It doesn't happen quite a lot. If you've been following along with this tutorial, it shouldn't have happened to you. Okay. So the next thing to do now is we need to join the top together. So I'm going to hold down Alt, middle mouse wheel, zoom in, tab to go into edit mode, push N on your keyboard to bring up this menu, click on item. Now what you want to do is you want to select one of these vertices. This one will do right here. Now you're going to take the Z value. Now that is the position, the Z position of that vertices. You can hit Control C on your keyboard to copy it, escape, so that you don't alter where it is. Alt, left mouse button click to select this whole ring, and you're going to paste that value into there. Now what that's going to do is that's going to move all these down the z-axis to come into line with this ring. Okay, so hit enter. Perfect. A to select everything. Right click on the mesh, merge vertices by distance, and you're going to see it's removed 157 vertices. And what that's done is that it's just joined this together for us. Nice and easy. Now let's do the same thing at the bottom. So all I'm going to do, hold down Alt, middle mouse button, click near the bottom so I can go in and see what I'm doing. And for this one, we want to move it down to the same height as this ring here. So select one of the vertices on the ring, select the Z value, Control C, escape, hold down Alt, select this ring, paste the value into the Z value, Control V, enter, select everything, merge vertices by distance, remove 128 vertices, and as you can see, it's connected it together again for us. Now the next thing to do is we're going to bring back the inside tube, and we can connect the inside tube to the bottom and the top. So we'll bring back the inside tube, tab to go into object mode, select the tube, hold down shift, select the body, and you're going to hit Control J to join them together. Now we're not cutting them in together like we did through the sidewall, we're just joining the two models together. Okay. The next thing we need to do, hit tab to go into edit mode, select this bottom ring, select any of the vertices, it doesn't matter again. This one will do. Select the Z value, Control C to copy it, escape, select this ring, Alt left click, paste the Z value in, Control V, enter, and that's going to drag it down to the same level. Now something you can do is you can hit Control R on your keyboard, and that'll put in a loop cut. Just click like that, hit escape, which will put it dead in the middle between them. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to hold down Alt, left click this ring, whoops, left click the ring, and all we're going to do is going to scale this ring in just like that so it meets up. And hit A to select everything, right click on it, merge vertices by distance. 128 vertices, joined up perfectly. Then you're going to hold down Alt, middle mouse wheel to click at the top. Now obviously you're going, how are we going to see the inside one to connect it up? Well, if you hold down Alt, click this ring, hold down Control, positive on your numpad once, twice, and then hit H on your keyboard. That's going to hide the vertices so you can see it, what you're doing. And we're going to select one of these vertices on this bottom ring, take the Z value, Control C, escape, select this top ring, whoops, Control V and paste the value in, enter to drag it down. Then you're going to select this ring on the body, we're going to S to scale it in so just about touch, like that. Select everything, right click, merge vertices by distance, 128 vertices, perfect. Now what you can do is you can hit Alt H, which is going to bring them back, hit tab, and you can see our finished Klein ball. Now we need to do a couple more things before it's ready. So while we have it set like this, you're going to right click it, you're going to hit Control A, I'm going to apply all transformations. Okay. The next thing you're going to do, you're going to hit tab, hit A to make sure you've got everything selected, and then you're going to hit Alt N on your keyboard. And we're going to recalculate normals to the outside. These are just a few things you have to do whether you're texturing or 3D printing, just to make sure the textures are applied right, or if you're 3D printed, so that the 3D printer knows which is the outside and which is the inside of the model. Okay. And the last thing that you want to do before you finish a model is you want to right click and you want to merge vertices by distance. Okay. Obviously we just did that when we joined it together, so we didn't really need to do it again. Hit tab to go back into object mode. Now I'm going to delete the Bezier curve. This shouldn't really matter, but sometimes if you're going to 3D print especially, having two models on the same project can cause problems. I'm going to hit File, Save As, and I'm just going to call it Klein. Okay, and then if you want to export it for 3D printing, what you want to do is you want to go File, Export, STL, and then what we need to do is we need to change the scale value from 1 to 1000. This is because we've changed our units from meters to millimeters, and then we're going to hit Export STL. Okay, and the last thing you can do, if you want to actually check that it's working okay, project Klein bottle, if you open it up in your slicing software, what we're going to do now, what I recommend is if you're going to 3D print in, after you've finished a model, open it up in your slicing software, make sure where they should be, so where this joins up here, make sure there's a hole going through, make sure there's a hole here. If you find out that it's 3D printing and it's filling anything in, usually what that means is you've either got internal mesh that shouldn't be there, or you've got flipped normals or other problems like that. Usually it's not a problem to just see where it's filling it in and go in and sort it out. The first thing I do before trying to clean anything up is try to flip the normals to see if that fixes it. Let's slice it. I'm not going to be 3D printing, I just want to show you how I usually check my models. Preview. And then what I like to do is I just like to go through my model. Make sure obviously there should be a hole there, and there is, that's perfect. Scroll down, make sure where it passes through the wall there's a hole, and there is. All the way to the bottom, and that's absolutely perfect. So I hope you enjoyed that video, I hope it's been helpful to you. Thanks for watching.